Consultants are generally brought in on the important decisions that are vital to the future of the company. To make sure that every angle is considered, they can devote themselves entirely to the question at hand, while executives are normally busy with the actual running of the company. Consultants also offer deep expertise in a particular industry or subject, such as market positioning or restructuring. Commercial satellite imagery is currently in a sweet spot, powerful enough to see a car, but not enough to tell the make and model, collected frequently enough for a farmer to keep tabs on crops' health, but not so often that people could track the comings and goings of a neighbor. Federal regulations limit images taken by commercial satellites to a resolution of the length of a shoe. Locomotion underpins a limitless array of animal behaviors and can be a rich source of inspiration for the design of modern machines. Movement requires mechanical interaction with the physical environment to monitor and control musculoskeletal systems that may be complex with many degrees of freedom. Recent advances in robotics have proven to be powerful in broadening our understanding of how animals run in a controlled manner. For centuries, the study of biological process has inspired fundamental mathematical developments, while mathematical analyses have been instrumental in developing a mechanist understanding of biological observations. The fruitful cross-fertilization has gained momentum over recent decades, thanks in part to extraordinary technological advancements in the biological sciences, as well as the rising availability of large-scale computational resources. The bone density test is painless and quick. It estimates how dense or thick your bones are by using X-rays. The X-rays measure how much calcium and minerals are in a part of your bone. The more minerals you have, the better, which means your bones are stronger, denser, and less likely to break. Coffee is a beloved beverage known for its ability to fine-tune your focus and boost your energy levels. In fact, many people depend upon their daily cup of coffee when they wake up to get their day started on the right foot. In addition to its energizing effects, coffee has been linked to a long list of potential health benefits, giving you more reasons to get brewing. The sea breeze is one of the most frequently occurring small-scale weather systems. It results from the unequal sensible heat flux of the lower atmosphere over adjacent solar-heated land and water masses, owing to the large thermal inertia of a water body. During daytime, the air temperature changes little over the water, while over land, the air mass warms.
We carefully compared the first report with the second, looking for any difference.
Be careful while comparing first report with the second.
Elderly people tend to become more socially isolated than others.
Elderly people tend to become more socially isolated than others.
There has been a growing need for qualified teachers of English literature.
There has been growing need for qualified teachers for English literature.
The plan is designed to motivate employees to work more efficiently.
The plan is designed to motivate employees to work more efficiently.
They voted to table the proposal until the following meeting.
They voted to the proposals for following to the following meetings.
We need to work harder to remain competitive with other companies.
We need to work harder to remain competitive with other companies.
He has carried out extensive research into renewable energy sources.
He's taken out extensive research on renewable energy resources. Thank you very much.
She was asked to describe what her campus life was like as a freshman.
She was asked to describe her campus life.
The scholarship is now encouraging applications from students who take undergraduate programs.
The students are now encouraging for undergraduate programs who are graduate. Thank you very much.
This article will concentrate on the role of educators with regard to adult education.
This article will concentrate on the role of education.
Experts have made some assumptions based on students' study habits.
Experts have made some assumptions based on student study habit. The picture gives information about electronic devices. I can see camera, I can see radio and monitor, I can see mobile phone and laptop, I can see car and truck, I can see black screen and black wheel. Some elements are maximum and others are minimum. To conclude, the picture is very informative. The picture gives information about total business economy. I can see financial and insurance. I can see 2008 and 2009. I can see 2010 and 2011. I can see 2012 and 2013. I can see operating income and equity. I can see 1000 and 1500. I can see 2000 and 2500. Some elements are maximum and others are minimum. To conclude, the picture is very informative. The picture gives information about energy pyramid. I can see decomposers and sun's energy. I can see primary producers and primary consumers. I can see secondary consumers and third level consumers. I can see 100% and 10%. I can see 1% and 0.1%. I can see energy lost as heat. Some elements are maximum and others are minimum. To conclude, the picture is very informative.
Facts you read, hear, or study become memories through a process with three main steps. First comes acquisition, the moment you encounter a new piece of information. Each sensory experience activates a unique set of brain areas. In order to become lasting memories, these sensory experiences have to be consolidated by the hippocampus, influenced by the amygdala, which emphasizes experiences associated with strong emotions. The hippocampus then encodes memories, probably by strengthening the synaptic connections stimulated during the original sensory experience. Once a memory has been encoded, it can be remembered or retrieved later. Memories are stored all over the brain, and it's likely the prefrontal cortex that signals for their retrieval. So how does stress affect each of these stages? In the first two stages, moderate stress can actually help experiences enter your memory. Your brain responds to stressful stimuli by releasing hormones known as corticosteroids, which activate a process of threat detection and threat response in the amygdala. The amygdala prompts your hippocampus to consolidate the stress-inducing experience into a memory. Meanwhile, the flood of corticosteroids from stress stimulates your hippocampus, also prompting memory consolidation. But even though some stress can be helpful, extreme and chronic stress can have the opposite effect.
Study was the main topic of the lecture and several points were mentioned. She told about three main steps of information. She told about brain areas and experiences. She told about emotion, memory and stress. She also told about hormones and opposite effect. To conclude, the lecture was very informative.
What do we call a small object that is produced by a plant from which a new plant can grow?
fragmentation,
What does the prefix bi, such as in words like bilateral and bilingual, mean?
to, to,
What do we call the place where plants or animal naturally live?
forest, jungle, habitat, ecosystem, environment, forest.
What do we call an arch of different colors that you can sometimes see in the sky after raining?
Rainbow, rainbow.
What do we call the vegetable that has been preserved in salt water and has a strong flavor?
Pickles, pickles, pickle.
Which one is used to describe things connected with the mind, mental or physical?
Brain, memory, health.
Stocks enter a bear market when they lose at least 20% of their value from a recent high. Let's look back at the 2020 chart. You can see when the market started to fall in February. It entered a bear market here, just under a month later. The term is a shorthand way for Wall Street to mark when stocks have taken a tumble, a sign that investors are anxious about the future and moving away from risky assets.
There's a number of things that can make investors more risk averse. One, they can grow concerned about how stocks are valued and say, is this stock really worth what I think it's worth or worth the premium that I'm putting on it? Have valuations run up too far, too fast?
This was a factor in a bear market in 2001, when a bursting market bubble drove down stock values.
I believe I was asked about the markets today. I'm sorry people are losing value in their portfolios.
Another really important factor is the economy. Often bear markets have been affiliated with economic recession. So that's one thing that can really put investors on edge.
Recessions have accompanied 9 of the last 17 bear markets. And while one doesn't necessarily cause the other, problems in the economy can be a major factor in bringing stocks down. High inflation contributed to one of the longest bear markets in history in the 1970s.
There are at least 5 hotspots of floating plastic in the global ocean. These are gyres where circulating currents trap debris. This one, the so-called Great Pacific Garbage Patch, is the largest, with almost 80,000 tonnes distributed over 600,000 square miles. The scientists teamed up with a charity that collects old fishing gear and other litter from the ocean and gathered hundreds of plastic items to study in the lab. They found plants and animals, including anemones, tiny marine bugs, mollusks and crabs, on 90% of the debris they examined. As well as creating a semi-permanent floating habitat for coastal species in the open ocean, the researchers say all this plastic could be providing invasive species with rafts that allow them to cross the Pacific. This, they say, is yet another unintended consequence of plastic pollution for the ocean.
At least 5 people were killed and several others wounded when Sudanese security forces opened fire on demonstrators in Khartoum and elsewhere in the country Saturday. The Sudan Doctors Committee said 4 people died from gunshots and 1 suffocated from tear gas in Khartoum and Omdurman on Saturday. Several other protesters were wounded, including from gunshots. The rallies came 2 days after military coup leader General Abdel Fattah al-Burhan reappointed himself the head of the Sovereign Council, Sudan's interim governing body. Thursday's move angered the pro-democracy alliance and frustrated the United States and other countries that have urged the military to reverse its coup and to restore civilian rule.
A hormone called relaxin helps loosen up pregnant women's hips. Without it, the pain of delivery would be unbearable. Its job done, however, relaxin lingers in female bodies for up to a year, when softer ligaments make new mothers more prone to injury, as Jessica Ennis-Hill, an Olympic champion heptathlete, discovered in training after giving birth in 2014. 5 years later, Dame Jessica started Genis, a fitness app to help other women perform safe postnatal workouts. It now lets users optimize workouts for the different phases of their menstrual cycles and has just concluded a successful funding round.
The Democratic Republic of the Congo will hold an election in December, hopefully leading to a peaceful democratic transfer of power for the first time in the country's history. Sitting President Joseph Kabila came to power in 2001, having succeeded his father, Laurent Désiré Kabila, after his assassination. Joseph Kabila was elected president in 2006 for a 5-year term and re-elected in 2011. Though his second term ended in 2016 and the DRC constitution prevents him from seeking a third term, elections were not held and Kabila remained in power.
How long does it take from starting something and being grossly incompetent and knowing it to being reasonably good in, hopefully, as short a period of time as possible? So, how long does that take? Here's what my research says. 20 hours. That's it. You can go from knowing nothing about any skill that you can think of. Want to learn a language? Want to learn how to draw? Want to learn how to juggle flaming chainsaws? If you put 20 hours of focused, deliberate practice into that thing, you will be astounded at how good you are. 20 hours is doable. That's about 45 minutes a day for about a month, even skipping a couple days here and there. 20 hours isn't that hard to accumulate. Now, there's a method to doing this, because it's not like you can just start fiddling around for about 20 hours and expect these massive improvements. There's a way to practice intelligently. There's a way to practice efficiently that will make sure that you invest those 20 hours in the most effective way that you possibly can.
A taxi driver in Taiwan is offering free rides in exchange for singing a karaoke song. Mr. Tu Ching Liang, 57, is a big fan of driving, karaoke, and of listening to people sing. Mr. Tu has become famous for the disco lights in his taxi and his offer of free rides. It is easy to spot his yellow taxi. It has a pink neon star on the dashboard and colourful flashing lights inside. People can select a karaoke option if they use a taxi locating app in the capital city of Taiwan. Mr. Tu will appear on your smartphone screen. When Mr. Tu's taxi arrives, he will give you a microphone and an iPad on which you can go to YouTube and select the song you want to sing. He says people have more bravery to sing at night.
Why is lying to ourselves a problem? We need to tell ourselves the truth when we can, for the simple reason that we often pay a very high price for the short-term calm of our lies. We miss key opportunities for growth and learning. We're not very nice to be around. We develop harmful systems. And not least, the truth will out. When we don't let it emerge, it has a tendency to reveal itself through involuntary, often physical symptoms. We become insomniac or impotent, an eyelid starts twitching, we acquire a stutter, we scream in our sleep, we lose energy, we fall into depression. We owe it to ourselves to dare to start to confront.
One experiment in Australia showed that people rated the same wine higher when they thought it was $53 rather than $16 or $6. But get this, the experimenters had actually made that wine objectively worse by adding tartaric acid. It didn't matter. The price tag overwhelmed their own taste buds. In another study, scientists scanned the brains of people tasting wines that they thought were either $10 or $90. In reality, it was the same wine, but when they thought it was expensive, their brains showed more activity in a region associated with pleasant tastes and smells. So, expensive wines may actually taste
Wheat helped create civilization in the Middle East. It's a staple crop for 30% of the world's population. And now, with the publication of 4 articles in the journal Science, we're close to a detailed understanding of the bread-wheat genome. Wheat is tough to sequence. It's gone through multiple hybridizations, making its genome 5 times larger than a human one. Plus, there are many redundancies. More than 80% of the genome is made of repeated DNA sequences. So the typical whole genome shotgun approach, breaking genomes into segments and then reassembling them, doesn't work for wheat. Instead, an international consortium devised another strategy involving physically mapping individual chromosomes and chromosome arms. One paper details a draft of the entire genome of bread wheat. Another identifies all the genes on the largest of the plant's 21 chromosomes. Some 75,000 genes have been mapped. The methods in the second paper will help scientists map the remaining chromosomes. They say it should take another 3 years. Knowing exactly which genes are responsible for talent such as tolerating drought or improving yields should allow researchers to mine the genome and to quickly produce new and better wheat varieties to bring us our daily bread.
When the European Economic Community was established in 1957, its aim was, in broad terms, to move towards closer political and economic cooperation. Today, the much larger European Union has a far-reaching influence on many aspects of our lives, from the conditions we work under to the safety standards we must adhere to and the environment in which we live. In order to achieve the free flow of goods and services, workers and capital between the member countries, they needed to establish mutual policies in areas as diverse as agriculture, transport, and working conditions. When they had agreed on these policies, they became law. Now, though, the EU is concerned with a far wider range of issues.
There are hot peppers like the jalapeno, and then there are incendiary peppers like the legendary habanero. Now there's a new variety of thermonuclear habanero known as the Tiger Paw NR habanero. The name comes from its appearance. The bright orange pepper resembles a tiger's paw, and the NR stands for nematode resistant. The pepper was bred by U.S. Department of Agriculture scientists to be resistant to nematodes, roundworms that attack the plant's roots. The pepper was bred conventionally, not genetically engineered, and it does away with the need to use the soil fumigant methyl bromide, which is being phased out. So how hot is the tiger paw habanero? Pepper hotness is measured on something called the Scoville heat scale. A jalapeno comes in at about 5,000 on the Scoville scale. A regular habanero usually scores at least 100,000, and the tiger paw habanero tops the Scoville scale at almost 350,000. In fact, there's a legend that eating habanero peppers can have the side effect of actually making you deaf, but only so that you cannot hear your own screams. Thanks for the minute. For Scientific American's 60-Second Science, I'm Steve Mirsky.
She has been assigned to a new project in Spain. The instant availability of information has radically changed people's lives. We interviewed each individual member of this special community. My time spent in the library has been very productive.